launch reports from the Center for International Forestry Research are raising a lot of interest within the climate change community. According to their expert modeling, their maps show potentially up to 3 times the amount of peatlands in the tropics than previously reported. Up till now, the incredible carbon storage potential in peatlands for both mitigation and adaptation has not been fully recognized or valued. Peatlands cover only 3 to 5% of the Earth's surface, yet store nearly 1/3 of its carbon.
Peat is made up of partially decomposed plant material, and all plant material is roughly 50% carbon. And as this vegetation falls into, dies and senesces and falls into the water keeps the air from getting to it. That's why when we drain the peatlands and take that water out, it loses buoyancy, it subsides, and then we get a layer on the top of the surface that has no water in it, and then the microbial decomposition can continue. And that's how we get the carbon emissions associated with that.
We have developed a new spatial explicit map of peat location, extent, and depth for the tropics. It's a highly spatial explicit 250-meter resolution, hydrologically and geomorphological prediction of where the peats in the tropics will be expected to occur. We see a bias in our understanding of where current tropical are located towards Southeast Asia and Indonesia, and what the map is suggesting is that there is much more tropical peat located in Africa and in South America, in particular Brazil being the hoster of the larger amounts of peat.
Is about 1/4 of the world's carbon in tropical peat is in the Central Congo Basin. So that's, this is really important for future programs in terms of UNFCCC and the RED program and conservation initiatives. About 20% of the peatland is already covered in allocations for logging permits. Those pressures appear to be on the horizon.
Okay, so what can the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change do? I've sort of grouped these into 3 areas. The first one is to improve reporting through national greenhouse gas inventories. The second thing I think the UN Convention can do is facilitate financial flows specifically to peatland emission abatement. And finally, facilitate information exchanges and sharing of information of experiences. We have the Thames, we have in-session workshops. It would be useful to set up a web portal for periodic submissions related to peatlands. And I think encouraging inclusion of peatlands in the AR5 that's IPCC is undertaking, and the special report on land use and land degradation that IPCC is taking.
Yeah, it's interesting development now. Countries already submitted their nationally determined contribution, NDC, and some countries already included peat in it, but some do not because they do not know exactly what's the role of this particular ecosystem they have. So in the next round of the NDC, I think it's important to consider including peatland in the NDC.
The Global Peatland Initiative, launched in Marrakesh at COP22, is bringing together top experts and institutions. Assessments from the European Space Agency satellite help to improve mapping so that the initiative can advance on awareness-raising tools.
We see this as a mitigation potential for implementing responsible and sustainable management of peatlands. We are supporting the development of open source toolboxes, no license, open source, freely available for all and everybody.
So in order to draw the attention and to the urgent need of countries to reduce the degradation of their peatlands as a significant source of greenhouse gas emissions, the initiative has started a rapid response assessment. The purpose of the rapid assessment is to raise awareness about the threat of peatland loss, to identify problem areas or global hotspots, including information on the extent, depth, carbon stocks of peatlands.
I do think the livelihood issue is central, and I think we need to make sure that in the Climate Change Convention we need to make sure that people focus on that and keep that in the focus. It's not just about carbon. When we talk about peatlands, everybody focuses on the carbon just because the emissions are really so high. But we have to remember people are living in these landscapes. They need to be able to meet their economic needs. They need to be able to provide for their children, their families. So if we bring this all together, I think we can find rational solutions. The side event that we just had today, there were people from Africa, from Latin America, from Southeast Asia, from Europe, from North America. We're all there and talking about their experiences with peatlands. Just that sharing and coming together and saying, oh, well, in our region, this is how it is. In our region, that's how it is. It sort of creates this awareness that there are other lessons that can be learned from other places. And maybe we can find some innovations elsewhere that we can adapt, not necessarily transplant whole, lock, stock, and barrel, but adapt to our situations and find ways forward for us. So if others have done it someplace, maybe we can do it here as well.